Recorded. Jon Carter, welcome to Club Chill Records, Tracks of the Unexpected. We've been trying to get you for a while. Before we get stuck in, Jon, just give us a little shout out where you are, because I've been to your place. So tell us a little bit about that if you're okay.
We are, to use the royal we, in a place called Newhouse Farm Country Retreat. Very historic old building where I have moved. It's an hour out of London, and we do a lot of retreats, wellness retreats, do a lot of family gatherings, it's got this huge 300-year-old barn and 16 rooms. There's accommodation and just beautiful views for miles, which was a derelict farm, which I found after a lot of looking. And 4 days before working on doing this derelict farm up and building this quite an ambitious project, we had twins as well 4 days before we started. So in terms of wellness and family, I really needed to check myself into some of my own retreats, really, because it was pretty hardcore. But it's a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place that's got some it's kind of magical, where it's just so rural, and you never believe you're just an hour from London. So that's where we are. That's where the old doors look old behind, and
it is, Jon.
In the middle of one of those East Sussex Kent superstorms, which took the internet down till about 10 minutes ago, hence the rush. And just about managed to connect.
Let's hope we stick with it. But no, me and my wife have been down to your place. It's absolutely beautiful down there, and we came on beautiful sunny days. Absolutely, absolutely wonderful. Hopefully we'll do something in the future. Just before we get stuck in, there's a book coming out on Heavenly Records, isn't there? I don't think it's come out yet. Are you involved with that at all?
Yes. Well, I worked with Heavenly for many years.
Yep.
As an artist, and as also a DJ for the Heavenly Social for many years. And I met them down at the Albany when the Dust Brothers, who became the Chemical Brothers, and just about every kind of indie and rock hero would turn up, and we did had some phenomenal nights, and then did a few years at Turnmills. But Heavenly had been going 30 years, and they've got an incredible back catalogue. St Etienne, I think it's Manic Street Preachers they first signed, Monkey Mafia with us.
Yep.
And they go forwards and onwards as well. If you turn BBC Radio 6 music on at the moment, you're going to hear something by them at least 2 or 3 different times a day by 2 or 3 different bands. Still relevant, absolute passion for music and believing in magic. And they've got a photo of me in there. So apart from that, the book's great. It comes out in November, and it's available for pre-order now. It's going to be one of those great defining different decades.
Yeah.
Beautiful coffee table kind of books, but also hilariously written by Robin Turner, because we've all got a few tales.
And I can imagine then end up in your bookshelf in one of your rooms down your place there, because I know you've got a good bookshelf going on there. So
yes, there's some classics in there, isn't there? Yeah.
Right.
People keep reading the Norman J autobiography, which is very good, because
it is very good. That's right. I want to get Norman on there as well.
I don't mind replacing that. If people are going to nick a book and it's Norman J's autobiography, I'm okay with that, because he's got some good lessons.
Right. Okay. It is a good book. Right. So Tracks of the Unexpected, Jon. You got a few tracks for us we can talk about, and they're meaning to you, things that we, the public, would not expect you, the DJ, the producer, the artist, to necessarily have. All right.
Have, play, like, admit to liking, or This is the first. Do you say what's the third one?
The first one.
Well, I'll start with the third. The third one is Debaser by the Pixies. I thought it was a good place to start. Because it's third, it's in the middle. It was my daughter's first favourite song, as in the first, and she's 16 now, her first real experience of music when I'd be doing the school run with her, or a little run to nursery. And if you know the lyrics, slicing up eyeballs, whoa, I don't want to be, and just me and her screaming at the top of our voices while driving along, cutting across rat runs, getting across London. And there's actually a playlist on Spotify, if anyone wants to look it up. It's under my name. It says for Lola, age 3 to 11. And it's a list which I've chosen this from, which is actually not annoying. It's actually a very good list, where it's an hour and a half, whereas obviously I've got hours of stuff. And it's all very, without dropping names, but Dorian Linsky, editor of Q, loved it. Alexis Petridis, chief music critic at The Guardian, loved it. And it's just part of a young person growing up, being exposed to music by someone who's, her dad's is what he is in music. And it just blows my mind that the first thing she really responded to is Debaser by the Pixies. And if anyone doesn't know it, listen to it, and then you'll see why I've got a kind of real passion and love for it, because you knew she was going to be something special. If that was her first favourite song.
I think that's fantastic.
Dad wasn't all there, I guess, as well. But
yeah, that's fantastic. Do you know if she's gone on to sort of discover more Pixies stuff? Because they've done a few albums, didn't they? So
yeah, well, she loved Broken Face. I put her onto that as well. But she's very much led her own way in finding music. Obviously, I put her onto loads of stuff, and children don't find their own way until, maybe. Well, I started really young, and we all start kind of young. But when you actually start finding your own route, and no, I've always been proud of what she finds. But she's got a very, very wide appreciation. If you see that list as well, you'll see why. It's not just Pixies and White Stripes. There's one I just took off this list, actually, called Hasta Siempre, which is actually a Spanish vocal about Che Guevara, and it's like an anthem in Cuba. And she started learning Spanish from it, but she knows all the words, and you're like driving along, and you're going, I can't even get to the chorus, and she knows the whole song. And again, just shows you how absorbent these young minds are with music. And that's on that playlist. But yeah, she's sort of taken the influence on, I think, of being taught to listen to all kinds of music, and it's exponential then. There'll be a bit of Billie Eilish in there, Panic at the Disco, but then there'll be all kinds of crazy stuff. You go, what is this? And yeah, my son as well, similar.
Excellent. I think we all agree. We're of that generation, aren't we? Where music was important to us, still important to us, but as an education. And I think, absolutely. Right. So that's your first track, or your third track. Where are we going now then? We're going fourth, or we're going second or first, John?
I'll go to second. D-bass is quite a noisy one. So change my mind actually first. Sorry, I've taken my reading glasses off. Hold on 1 second. These ones are also just learning about music. Darling, I'll be down in a minute, okay? All right, I'll get you sent to it. Just say bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hello. Bye-bye.
Come on. I'll be down in a minute. Come on. You promised. All right, okay. So, Kathy's song, I was in Kathy's songs by Simon & Garfunkel. Yep. I saw them play it live in Hyde Park. Reduced me to tears. It's something that has pulled me back from the brink when I've been in all kinds of situations, like much music can do. It's very healing in the moment. And I was in Brazil with Wall of Sound, Mark Jones, Derek DeLarge, and darling, can you go downstairs? Is that right? I'd been up for 4 days, and I was doing the music for Chloe, for Stella McCartney.
Right.
and I'd done it a few times, and the demands were coming through on the fax, and I'd prepared it all before I go out. And one of the things that happens when you do jobs like that is they just go, "We've changed everything. Everything needs to change." And there was a 24-foot long fax that had been sort of slipped under my door, and I couldn't tell if it was day or night because it was this sort of pink dusk. So I'm on the phone going, "Can you tell?" And it's in Belo Horizonte, where they're really there's not many English speakers. And I'm going, "Can you tell me, is it AM?" So then you're going downstairs all the way down this apartment block, and you're walking around, and you're just like going, "I have no way of telling if these people are going to work or from work. I don't know if I've missed my radio gig, the gig itself, after all this time." And you're absolutely lost. I've never lost complete time before.
Right.
And it just really, and that song brought me down. I have to listen to it about 12 times in a row, but it calmed me down. Turned out I hadn't missed anything. I'd only been asleep for a couple of hours. But it's a work of absolute beauty. It's when when Paul Simon lived in London. And yeah, again, I recommend listening to it. If you don't get past the fact of just how beautiful and calming it is, that's absolutely fine. But within it lays very therapeutic qualities.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you know what? I'd say that about a lot of songs by them two songwriters. You know what I mean? They have a special quality, don't they? It's never been done. You know what I mean? In terms of it, you know, as it should be. Right. What's your next track, John? What's your next track?
So the next one, I'll go with Island of Doom by Agnes Obel. This came out this year. She's an incredible artist that works sort of in the realm of semi-classical.
Okay.
Kind of Scandinavian feel to some of it. Very, very ethereal. Darling, I am talking. 1 second, darling. So very, very ethereal. Brilliant use of pizzicato. Right, darling, come on. Right. Yes, I will. If you go downstairs now, I'll get you 2 things to eat. You have to go now, though. Go on. I'll see you in a minute, darling. Right. And anyway, it's called Island of Doom. And it was something I got very, very into as, you know, the whole Brexit thing was, you don't think till afterwards, but it just seems so apt. And then it's very an isolated piece of music, and then the whole country's in isolation. And it's just a perfect soundtrack, the antithesis to all this mayhem. It's in tune with the isolation of the nation at the moment and the world. And again, just absolutely beautiful. The album that's come out is called Myopia.
Okay.
And the thing maybe that hooked me in when I first heard it on the radio, and I listened to a lot of chilled stuff, is she just uses a pitch shift on her voice on one little bit, which just takes you back to the rave days.
Okay.
Where she just sings this one bit, and it's like it goes into a squeaky voice, and and it's the last thing you expect to hear. Works perfectly, hooks children in, but it also just makes it like, yeah, that's so unexpected, and also, yeah, it just sort of triggers that little bit of when we all used to listen to pitched up vocals, little things that would happen, not strictly all happy hardcore, but it's just definitely a nod towards technology and soul and the unexpected, which is also key to electronic music that, you know, I love and I know you love, and probably a lot of
wonderful.
people.
So has she been around for a while? Because I know you when you sent me these tracks, I didn't know the artist. So it's Scandinavian, you say? Or
She's 3 albums in, I think. So about 2013, 14, I might be a 3rd album.
Okay.
Worth very much worth investigating. yeah, I mean, the older I get, the more peaceful I get, the more I listen to some more chilled stuff.
Yeah.
And this, like I say, just has those little bit of the quirks in the production on that track that made it stick out and kind of leap the bridge to electronic music we were brought up on, which was very much the antithesis of live sounds, live bands. It was all about using electronics and warping things.
Right, so Agnes Obel. Okay, look out for that. Have you got another one or two tracks, John, for us?
Yes. Aphrodite's Child.
Right, yeah.
I think it's called the Four Horsemen. If you type that in, that's the track that will come up. It's Demis Roussos, I'm not actually sure how you pronounce it, when he was still thin, long before he was a muumuu wearing gigantic love god. He was in a prog rock band. And
it's a bit psychedelic, isn't it? Yeah.
It's psychedelic. It's very psychedelic. He's got that, he's singing quite a falsetto. It's almost like talking about the plot of a film someone hasn't seen, because I don't want to give it away, but essentially you're listening to some weird chimes and talking about the four horses of the apocalypse, and then just suddenly this drum break comes in.
Right.
Absolutely immense. The last thing you expect, and it drops back again, and it comes in. Dynamics, which is obviously a huge thing in dance music, and this has it in spades. You can fade it out after 5 minutes because there is a lot of prog guitar noodling later, but that first 4 or 5 minutes, absolutely tune in for that and love it. Have it loud, have it really loud. When the drums come in, it's really loud.
Have you actually played it in the Long Barn, the place that you took us to, with your sound system that you built? Has it had a play out there yet?
Yes, yeah. No, I've tested a lot of things in there, especially dynamically. It sounds great in there actually, because of all the sort of hanging chimes that are playing, and then seeing how it handles drum breaks, how that it's 50 meters by 15 meters high, how that handles sound, and it's kind of ideal for that. It's a good point.
But out of interest then, do you recall how you stumbled across this track? Because who goes looking for Demis Roussos? I mean, honestly.
I remember exactly. A guy called Michael Bonner writes for Uncut Magazine.
Okay.
And they used to put fantastic CDs out. I don't know if they still do. I think they do.
Yeah, I think so.
Sure they do. I think they were one of the last ones. People used to put out what was being promoted or a DJ mix, but they used to put, there was always something amazing. And he lived around the corner, and he came around and just listen to this. And yeah, it's quite well known. That's the first time I heard it. And you're listening to it and it's going, yes. Yeah, absolutely, yes. To the point where it's almost just like a running joke. The leading horse is white, or just white, green. Anyway, I
did check it out actually. I mean, you sent it before, and I think.
Oh, you heard it?
Yeah. I do believe it was around 68 or 69 as well. So it's going right back, you know.
Oh yeah.
So all the influences. Right. What's your last track, please, John? What have you got?
The last one is everything that Andrew Weatherall played on the last night I saw him. Starting at 115 BPM, going up to 122 BPM over 3 hours, which I'm lucky enough to have a copy of.
Okay.
And never knew it'd be the last time I saw him. And had a wonderful evening, having dinner with him beforehand, chatting at length afterwards, and he was huge influence on music. Is just unreplaceable. It's been a hard year for everyone, and I think he just the passing of Andrew has signified something that seems to be in parallel with something such a loss to music, what's happening now. But anyway, without being too down, it's a beautiful mix. It just builds up in a gorgeous gliding fashion. If you knew what he was into with Alphos, it's on that sort of tip. And it was a really, really rainy, windy weekend in Hastings Seafront. And I think a few people would like go, oh, I don't know if I fancy it. And, you know, obviously if they'd known it was the last time they might see him. So there was a bit of space in this place to move, and there's acid coming in and everything. And he's just the master. And he makes a set into a song. You know, there's people that take you on journeys, and there's people that can sort of take an incredible array of things and make them into one amazing thing. I think that's what he was masterful, incredible at, was, you know, not the cliche of I take everyone on a journey. He was fantastic at taking a journey and making it one spot.
Yeah. How did you guys first meet up, you two? Do you recall that?
In Reading University. I didn't go to university there. Primal Scream were playing.
Right.
Justin Robertson and him were DJing. He had his long hair, really long hair. All the tats out, and it seemed much more. I think a lot of people say that as well when they talk about him. It seemed much more of an intimidating creature than he actually was. He was so gentle and so funny. So ran into him a few times, and I was a punter then, but you know, just still got and prod people and go, oh, you anyway. Then I think the next time I met him would be Heavenly Offices. Various times, pretty quickly DJing and Heavenly Social, stuff like that. But he was so generous as well. He just came up with a load of the label's called Disco Cane.
All right.
It was on Zoom, and well, either way, just a load of techno. He just goes, John, and he's been carrying them around, waiting to find me. He goes, I think you'll like these. And he was like that, just absolutely incredibly generous, wanted to pass information, knowledge, you know, books, music on. There's so many tales of him, you know, having. Actually, I know someone that grew up next door to him,
right.
And his mum used to babysit him, and he knew that well that he gave him his only white label of Abandon, that Petrol Emotion.
Right, wow.
It's an amazing record. And I said, my friend Michael, oddly enough, lives opposite us at Newhouse Farm. And we were going up to the funeral. He goes, yeah, no, he gave me that. And I was like, you know, that's amazing. Oh, can I listen to it? He goes, look, have it. Just I'll grab it back when I need it. And that's back in the days where, you know, it wasn't a white label, it was a dub. So it's actually, you know, dub pressing. She's not meant to play that many times either. So that, that generosity from that early on. And he knocked on his door. He's going, I do need that back actually now, because I've got a gig this weekend. And the stories of his humour, his generosity, and everything that he left. I know my friend Johnny Dropjaw that drove him many times said one thing he said, just like, 2019, he goes, a lot of people ask, why do I make so much? And he goes, legacy. I just want to leave as much music as possible.
Yeah. And
he's not just left that, he's left so much, so many incredible stories about the nature of him. His humour, his intelligence, his knowledge is one of the funniest father muckers that ever walked on the planet. I said I wouldn't swear. And,
well, I think it's a fitting tribute because this week, Terry Farley, along with Defective Records, and have kind of relaunched the Faith magazine.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
And I believe that there's a whole sort of thing in there for Andrew Weatherall. So, you know, timeliness, and I think what you're saying, John, is felt and shared by many, many people, you know. So, absolutely. So, look, Jon Carter, thanks ever so much for doing this at Club Chill Records. Really, really appreciate it. Okay. As you know, we've got other guys coming in and wanted to get you involved just because I knew whatever you have in your record collection, people would not have expected, John. I really do. So you and I will sign out. We'll speak again soon anyway about that other business. And otherwise, good to see you. I think your kids probably need their tea now. So if they're still there.
Yeah, I've them with something I've forgotten already, but still, they'll remind me.
John, look after yourself. Take care and see you very soon. Thanks for doing this.
No worries.
Right.
Take care.
Peace out. Cheers then. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.